That's a short meeting, we're already down to the end, I'm telling you. Okay, so, go ahead and show us, we're gonna go ahead and, begin, I'm gonna move a little bit, if it's okay, if we can all please stand and say the pledge of allegiance, and then we'll come back to the notice of public hearing. Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Okay, first thing that we're going to take care of is we have a public hearing. So this is our opportunity to go ahead and have a public hearing on the proposal for fiscal year 2021, 2022. Public hearing will be held at Vital City Hall here at 14916 Main Street, Vital, Texas. And a copy of proposed budget will be available for the inspection of City Hall. Josie actually did a good job being able to give us a handout. We have it in front of us. We also had it in the paper in 2 different places too. So we open it up, see if there's any comments for the public hearing portion of it.
You see, we have such a crowd.
I know. I think personally, I think a lot of folks actually got the word in the sense of, the actual drop or the adjustment that is being made. So instead of, rounding up 42, the point 42 going down to the point 39. So I think folks have that. Okay, so if we don't have anybody to go ahead and do that, Josie, if you can go ahead and show us 632. Closing it out. Alright. Cool. Alright. Let's go ahead and jump right into the council meeting, the regular council.
There's 2 public hearings.
Oh, there's
The
2.
first one's on the budget, and the second one's on the tax rate.
Alright. Got it, okay. Okay, so the second one that we actually have is a notice of public hearing on the tax increase. And this is just like we had mentioned, it's at the point 39 proposed new tax rate. We actually advertised and put it out there. I'd like to go ahead and see if anybody has any comments. Any comments on that? No comments on that, so Josie, if we can go ahead and show 634. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that. Appreciate that. All right. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get started with the regular meeting. And we'll go ahead and open it up at 6:34. We'll go ahead and do visitors and citizens' comments. Anybody in attendance would like to pass on any comments in that portion? No? Let's go ahead and move into the consent agenda. Consider approval of the minutes. So council, if you can please take a look at the minutes that we provided to you. Josie, on the minutes for the 26th of July, page number 2, on the update on sanitary easement, can we go ahead and add on there, as part of the discussion, make sure that we put that our TCQ application for the well is pending the completion of this easement agreement?
Have they acted on the application at all? Have they acted on the application at all? It's TCEQ.
They're reviewing it,
Yeah, but they haven't acted on it. They're reviewing it, but they
they're
haven't.
reviewing it. Yep. But this is part of what Jeff told us needed to be turned in.
Sure, that's correct. I just wanted to give an update on where they were in the whole application process. This is not something that's holding up the application.
Not at this moment, but it's supposed to have been turned in with the application, from what I understood.
Okay.
Is that correct? I mean, that's what we
I
got from
don't,
Jeff.
that's what Jeff told us. It has to be approved, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that? Everybody good with that? Okay. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Jerry, thanks. Appreciate it. All right, second thing on the consent agenda is consider the approval of the city attorney's monthly bill.
I'll make a motion to approve the attorney's monthly bill.
Okay, got a motion?
You know,
Got a second?
before it was approved, we could knock off a couple of thousand there, and go take everybody out to a steakhouse.
What do you think, Tom?
I think that we need to ask my employees to go over that.
Here, we just had an ethics course.
Oh.
Okay, Jerry, the question was,
All that ethics course did was give me ideas. I've been missing out all this time.
all right.
Like that.
So should I ask any further discussions?
You have to bring that
All
up.
right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Thanks, Charles. All right. The last thing we have is consider approval of payment of bills. And so be added, so you have the packet and then you'll have the addition. Edward, on the bills, the recent bills, I'm looking at AT&T in here. Are we including the,
No, I have not had a chance to talk to AT&T about those two bills. I emailed them Thursday. She came back over the weekend and said she'd let me know something today. This was not the latest, the primary lady, it's her backup, Christina. So I'm still waiting. I need to find out more about those before we pay them.
so council, just so you know, in the sense of bills with AT&T, as we're going through the transition, we're gonna be going through the same thing that we did, a couple years, 3 years ago, where we'll get the new equipment charge, we'll get the old equipment charge, and then eventually they're supposed to give us some credit that goes along with that. So in the next few months, as Edward is working this out, you might see some additional charges there with AT&T, and it's just basically because of the two
From my
types of.
conversation with John at Frontera, he said, the understanding is, once AT&T put their equipment in place, we owe them. So we're gonna have a period where we're being charged concurrently for both the legacy service and the new service. So
And the way it works is that we just ask, and it's based on the refunds that goes along with that. So it's a process that they actually go through. But just so you know, in the sense of things that are gonna be happening with that. With the bills. So, all right. The only adjustment on this one is just take into consideration, we do have, Tom's bills included in there, but those were separated. So, but we approved them separate, okay?
I only got a motion to approve the bills.
Got a motion,
I'll second.
okay, got a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much, appreciate. Audience, thank you so much for bearing with us, going through the admin portion of that. Let's jump right into it and get into our action items. Item 5A, consider and act upon proposal from TRC for Bella subdivision.
And I should say, Vista Bella,
This is Bella.
okay? You have that in your packet, it's number 5A. $2,500. I also sent a plaque this afternoon because I was asked about it. And I did alert Jeff as to what you and I discussed about that 30-foot ingress and egress easement. We certainly don't need to be told by those people that buy that property that we need to pave that. If the developer's not gonna take care of it.
So basically, this is just for us to go ahead and approve the,
Just to propose
Or
it so that
TRC
Jeff
review
can review it.
When was that plat submitted to us?
It was sent over in July. July 26th, I believe was the day it was sent over. And I immediately forwarded it to Jeff, and that's how he came up with it.
how long do we have before?
30 days if Jeff doesn't get in touch with them, but they know that this has been sent to the engineer for review already, because they approved moving forward and the cost of the engineering firm to review it. Before when I sent over a plat to Jeff, he sent a proposal, and I immediately called the people that turned in the plat, and let them know what the fees are gonna be. Some of them backed out, they don't wanna do it, but this guy did email me back and said, please proceed.
Okay.
Then, you know where our elevated tank is over there at the corner of 463, and then you have Mr. Keith, that lives in that house right next to the fire station.
Yeah.
And then it's Bauman, and that used to be the Carnicom house years ago. Then the Carnicoms, put that little road back in there, and
Oh,
they
okay.
subdivided way back when. And they gave that land to the daughter, and she built the house. Well, since then, it's been sold, can't tell you how many times. Well, the house and the rest of the property.
So, council, what we're doing is just giving the opportunity for TRC to go ahead and review that. Can I get a motion? Okay, a motion, Joseph seconded, okay. Any further discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much, appreciate that. Okay, B, consider an act upon contract renewal with Frontera Concepts.
I believe Mr. Kate's been in touch with John.
Yes, I have, and I've submitted some changes on the contract with John, and he has sent those to his lawyer, and he says that he'll have it back by the next council meeting. And basically, we're taking out, they had a bunch of limitations on the warranties, but they also wanted to limit their damages. I said, look, let's take out all that limitation on the warranty, because they had some language in there that we were using their service at our own risk. I said, that's not good. So they're gonna take that out, and they've got a cap on there at 3 months worth of whatever we pay them. That would be the cap on the damages. That's what they had in the last one. But that's what we were talking about, cybersecurity, insurance. We need to make sure that we have that. Because somebody comes into our system, that's where I was 3 days out of last week. Attending a seminar for city attorneys. And that's big agenda item with cybersecurity. And they were saying basically, it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when. It's gonna happen to us. And we just need to be prepared for it. So we've got the TML risk management guy was there saying that we can get coverage for that. I guess we have.
We do have.
Yeah. So we will be covered.
Yeah, between coverage and having good setup with our backups, that's the main thing. So if we go down, having something that is backed up often, so we can actually be able to bring it up in different ways. So it's good. Okay, so can I get a motion for us to go ahead and table this until the next meeting? Is that correct, Tom?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay,
I'll make it. Motion.
so a motion for us to table it? I'll second. Okay, got a second? Any further discussion on that? Okay. All those in favor for us to table it?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much, appreciate that. Okay, C, consider an act upon the recommendation from zoning commission on request from Saddle Ridge for variance on lot size for 59 lots revised master plan.
Okay, I neglected to send this letter and this plat to y'all on Friday afternoon, but I sent it today. Mr. Welch is here from Cape Dawson. If you'll read the minutes of the zoning commission meeting, I'll just pretty much let him take over. He explained how they're doing it to improve drainage.
Sure, be fine. Mayor, council, thank you for your time. And I do have some large prints in case it's hard to see that 8.5 by 11. But the color print is probably the easiest to speak from, which is a markup of the currently proposed MDB. So when Roush Coleman came into this project, it was the master development plan was previously done by another engineer and approved. And as we got into the overall layout and refining the drainage design and everything, we found it was better to increase the pond size with unit 1 and relook at everything. But also what we got into, and the reason for the variance, is in this panhandle side, which is the western portion of the property. When we went to redo the layouts, the dimensions for the lot depth did not comply with the code. Now, at the time that this was done, there was conflicting portions of code in the subdivision ordinance versus the zoning ordinance, but that's since then been codified. And so what we're proposing in the variance request is to stay with what we believe was the intent of the code, which is 6,000 square feet minimum in the lot size. But what we have highlighted in turquoise on the exhibit are the lots where, in order to do so, we've had to go wider with the width because we're restricted on depth. So instead of being able to hit 120 feet on these perimeter lots, we're at 110 feet. But we went ahead and widened them to stay with the 6,000 square feet. And so that is implemented into the master development plan revision, as well as, updating the notes and current layout and everything. So to not dive too far into the weeds, I'll open up any questions you may have. I'll be glad to, answer and provide more details.
And that's done because of the drainage issues.
So what's restricting here is actually the property geometry. But what I'll point out is, in the major difference between the old layout and the new, you'll notice ponds at the corners here. And what we did with our design with unit 1, which is paved, and they're finalizing lot grading now, is we increased the size of this pond here. And when we did the analysis, what we found was that by providing detention here, because of timing, it actually had adverse impacts to it. Because if you delay the water and then it catches up with this water, you have a feed on feed.
It seems I can remember with we were asked several years ago, I believe, I think it's a couple of years ago, that to go from a certain width to narrow them and make them longer. It was what was that, so. Is that correct?
They requested 50 by,
Yeah, so, I mean, we did that. I mean, we
Yes, sir.
went ahead with that, but you're asking just for these to come back to a little wider because of this other issue.
Yes, sir. With the turquoise, what we'd be doing is staying with the 6,000 square feet. I feel like that is clear in code, but we're a little bit shallower. So from the road, as you drive in front of the lots, it'll actually look a little bit bigger. So when you get in the backyard, that you'll see they'll be 10 feet shorter. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's on the front road.
It's these lots here that are on the perimeter of the development.
On the back end.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I-35 is all right here. So it's backed by the wastewater treatment plant and developers itself.
it's not in the phase that you completed and are working on right now.
No,
It's in the
that's
next
correct.
phases.
Yeah, so as an update overall, phase 1, as mentioned, is paved. They're finalizing lot grading. We have acceptance on, or almost have acceptance, sorry, on water, sewer, street strings. Phase 6 has started. Construction has just been cleared. They've done some grading, but it's not moving too fast until this contractor finishes up.
What's the timeline that we're looking at, Mr. Wilson, to complete all the phases?
That's a good question. They're very anxious to get some home sales in unit 1 to see how quick it goes. Because we've already given a proposal to design the rest of the units, but I think we'll have a clearer answer within the next month or so when they're able to start doing some sales. I would anticipate on a slow rate that we'll maybe do, 2 units per year or so going forward. But if this sells like they've seen on the south side of San Antonio, where they're seeing 15 or so per month, this could go pretty quickly. So it's exciting. They're very anxious, obviously, to see
Yes,
that.
they are. They've already come in and gotten started on the building permits. And we're just waiting for all their contractors to come in and register.
Yes, ma'am.
How many houses are building?
So they're doing a handful of model homes right now in phase 1, and those are the first permits.
13 is what they,
And that's just showcase their different products that will be mixed within the subdivision.
So, TRC, what did they say with the new design?
he didn't comment on it. I asked him for it and he did not get back to me on it. So. I won't imagine that he's against it if it's gonna improve drainage. And the lot sizes are actually a little bit bigger than what we require the minimum to be.
I think it'd be, it's up to the council, but I think it might be good to get TRC's input in the sense of, because it is changing.
I did ask Jeff when you and I talked about it, but I haven't gotten a comment back from him. I don't know if he's been out of pocket or what.
it's good, we wanna move out, but at the same time, I mean, my recommendation to council is that let's get TRC's thumbs up. Make sure that we don't have any concerns or anything, because we are changing the layout, what was approved before. So it might be good for us to do that.
And I would throw out there too for consideration, not having his comments, we fully intend to address them, and I'm fine, if we need, to wait. Maybe it's a deal where we could, obviously, we have the variance and the master development plan revision. Maybe if the variance, portion which would address the lot size, if we could get some feedback on that, or a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Could we do this? Could we go ahead and approve this variance based upon?
Yeah,
the other-
approval.
Yes, and that way you wouldn't have to come back to the council. Would that be acceptable?
Yes, that would be acceptable. What is planning going to do on this?
They approved it.
They approved it without any commissioners.
What, yeah,
You still have time.
So.
Yeah, we definitely want to go through the due process of getting the city's engineers input, review, and address comments.
And I'd just like to say this, these guys have been great to work with. These guys have been super to work with.
Thank you.
So if we could, if they're.
we would like that for everybody,
Yeah.
it's easy to work with and
Yeah.
it's them,
If they can be on every project, we'll be good for the city. These guys have been super.
yeah.
That sounds great to me.
We worked with some doozies.
Motion based upon what we just talked about. To bring that theory. That way that
Variance
people,
based on the review and approval from TRC.
Contingent upon the
yeah,
engineer's
and
approval.
that way he won't have to come back to the council to get a couple of months. You just get word from the, and then you're good.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? Opposed? Awesome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
For your time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming by.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. All right, okay, consider and act upon, consider and act upon proposed budget for 2021-2022. Let's see.
The budget is attached there, one of the cover letters for the
So as far as the budget itself, very few changes from when we last met, except we adjusted on page 2. The salaries on the admin, we adjusted that to reflect the salary of lower paid person in the city manager. So I think we adjusted, so what, 56,000 or 20?
That went down from 90
Yeah.
to, down 47.
What are you saying? So
Okay, well, I wrote down last time, based on the numbers that we had talked about, we were looking at it being about 238,000 on that. If you take the 90, you're talking about a difference of, from the 90 going down to 56, and take the difference.
Now, we took the 56 out of there, but we did it with the amount of salary and the benefits. And by the benefits, it's Social Security and retirement in this case. And with the retirement to Social Security and the salary, that came to the 56,000.
not just the salary.
Not, yeah. Because that 112,350, the council said, had it 56.
Started like 45.
No, that was higher than that. So let's take a look at that, because if I'm looking, I'm just thinking out loud, I'm looking at your salary, I'm adding his salary, and then we're also adding,
Skips.
Skips is also in there, and I'm looking at the amount on that. How much is left over?
Well, we took 47 from that, right?
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
just-
43.
Just thinking, in the sense of putting the numbers together, with yours, and then Skips. How much is left over?
Should be 43.
Yeah, so that's lower than what we talked about.
Wait a minute, we put it 47, right? It was 47. I was thinking the 40, we subtracted 43,000 and then, left it at 47,000 for that, right? Or did we subtract the 47? Yeah, we included Skip's number.
I thought you said it was around 45 to 50,000. Right?
Y'all said to subtract 56,000, so altogether with the benefits and the salary, we subtracted 56,000.
Some of that 56 is salary, some is
Retirement, and some of it is social security.
labor costs. Social Security.
I'm just putting the numbers together based on what we discussed last time. So,
Yeah, we reduced it by 47,000. So that would leave that salary of 43.
So where should we have the salary be?
I thought we were saying between 45 and 50.
Okay.
I thought that's where the
Okay,
discussion
if
was.
that's the case, we could amend this to
All we have to do is,
5,000.
yeah, all we did was amend the transfer from the CDs to make it go. We amended that downward by 56 too.
Just take a look at it.
Okay.
Take a look at it and try to make adjustments on that one. Because I'm thinking of you guys and what you guys are getting, and then we're gonna add the increase, right? Because we're gonna give you an increase based on the annual increase on there. And with Skip too, so you put the math together with that, so just take a look at it.
Let's make sure we have between 45 and 50.
Yeah, include that on there. Take a look at it. So,
That is really the only change from last 2 weeks ago, last week when we did it. All the other numbers is the same.
Except for water.
Well, except for one.
now the input on, I know we only put the first half on there with
Page
the,
8, the COVID money.
yes,
That's in the,
Well, true. We're supposed to get it this month.
but if we get into something next year, or like we figure we're gonna do with the streets, the money that we get, if we get the money, some money this fiscal year, we just move it forward, we just amend it.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to get that same amount next year,
so,
and that's in the water fund.
yeah, but it'll be in this fiscal year. Because if you're getting it right now, it's 12 months, so you're talking about August, you still have August, September of next
Right.
year.
But even if we get that money this month, we probably
That'll
won't
be in
spend
this
it
fis-
this
yeah.
fiscal year. We'll
I
probably
would say we stick
use
it
it
in
allocated until next fiscal year. This
Yeah.
budget. That's kind of what I assumed the thinking was.
Well, we got plenty of stuff happening between now and the end of the year.
Well,
So-
and if it happens, we can,
But I just want the council to understand that there's still that 379 also.
and there's another 379,
That's gonna,
12 months later, so.
Mayor, thank you for the layout. I appreciate this. This is worked out in the sense of visual,
We'll,
so.
we will adjust the budget and we'll just send it to everyone, is that okay? So you got it? So, yeah.
Or you can just bring it, send it out, that'd be good, be able to do that one.
And everybody okay with my little summary? Okay.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. Okay, with that in mind, can I get a motion for us to go ahead and approve the proposed budget for 21-22?
I move to go ahead and make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. We get a second? Okay, Sam, we got a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say something there because we talked about this in the budget workshop. I'm glad that Edward and Ms. Comp were able to balance it, but my concern moving forward is that we're taking money that we had in CDs for repairs to the community center and to the museum to get there. So I think we're, in a sense, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And next year, when we're in the same boat, where's the money gonna come from?
Hopefully next year we won't have a lot of these big ticket items that are on the agenda this year. We got various vehicles.
No, we won't have two police vehicles in there next year or animal control, so.
So
Well, that's a rotating thing. I mean, when's the next time you're gonna need vehicles?
Well, we'll have to have one next year, because I'm gonna have, that'll leave my one vehicle, I'll have a vehicle with 150,000 miles on it, 160,000 miles by then.
So
So I can't mislead you and tell you that, and again, that's
We
with
won't
us,
have two.
no, but well, we hope not, but that's with us staying with 6 patrol vehicles, which we've had for many, many, many years. At some point in time, as we grow, we will have to add to the size of the fleet. But I think we're okay right now, but I don't want to, again, that's 6, we have 6 vehicles, police vehicles, and that will not last us forever. I would say Divine, Castroville, Poteet, Jordan, they all have more than 6 vehicles.
hopefully we'll get added tax revenue next year.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to throw that in though, so,
Well, I mean, yeah, but you also gotta consider too, we just got through this lumber shortage, and I say that it's kind of ending, but Lord forbid that there is no lumber, those homes don't get built, we don't have that increase that we're hoping for. I mean, it's better
A
to,
lot of stuff.
I'm not concerned about it, build it downtown, when it's not being used, you got using it as storage, so we don't have, as a museum, and we don't have one. Yeah, you put it in.
But the way we're going, next year could be, inflation could be eating everything up too. The city may have to cut it way back.
There's a lot of unknowns in the sense of what is
But we're
gonna
dealing
happen.
with,
I just wanna bring that up and, put it on the record, that's my concern, if
it
we're
is
gonna
a
be
concern.
balancing our budgets by taking money from these CDs, I don't think it's, financially responsible on our part to be doing that.
I agree that, we need to take care of the links there, but right now with COVID, I don't think it's being used.
It's also supposed to be our, emergency response center too. We're using it to
Yeah, alternate.
stage stuff there if need be. But those, the cost of repairing that community center, it's not getting any cheaper, and I don't know why it hasn't been done yet. That money was set aside, of course, it's sitting there not being used for it. But at some point in time, we're gonna have to address that. It's gonna become unsafe to even be in there.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion, a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much for that. Okay, the next item on the agenda is E, consider and act upon the proposed tax rate for 2021. Josie?
Okay, you have an ordinance in front of you. for the tax for the next year, and it's 39 cents on the $100 valuation. 33.3318 is the O&M, maintenance and support of the general fund, and 0.0587 is for $100 valuation is the interest incentive, which totals out to the 3905, and it's almost 2.5 cents lower than last year. And that was made possible because the debt service rate went down by about 1 cent. And the sales tax has made a difference where we can keep those taxes lower, a little over 22.5 cents that you save on the tax rate. And then the valuations were higher.
Josie, I was gonna ask you, the tax rate is actually down, but if we had, left it where it was, what would have been the extra, the difference
Well,
in the
if we would have
taxes?
left it where it was at 41.54, we would have raised more taxes, but we also would have triggered an election because it was over the voter
I'm just
approved rate.
curious as what would be the difference or say the
Well,
amount of taxes?
remember I told you that it makes about
29.
between 19 and 20,000 for every cent. So, probably about $50,000.
Just information for whoever's
Sure.
listening.
So can I get a motion for us to, Sam, you got a motion?
I'll second it.
Yeah, Charles, I got a second. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Josie, appreciate the work on that. All right, yeah, consider and act upon the interlocal agreement with Medina County. Josie actually gave you an insert on there for 5F. So the background on this one, and this is just with the Medina County version, I think we're still looking at Atascosa.
I did, and I found out that we don't actually have an interlocal agreement with them for all the things. We enter into for, in our case, we've got one right now for EMS service. And then we've had some when they've come in and done work at the park with ball fields, and we've done work on Railroad Street. But they don't actually have one for everything. They do it for each particular thing.
Okay. This one in particular, Medina County, it stems from discussions that we had because of Twin Lakes and the roads and trying to see if we can get some assistance. And then the other portion was on 681, the same thing and along that road that goes along with that. So, we talked to the county, talked to the commissioner, talked to the folks over there, and this is what they proposed in the sense of us being able to come together. Tom needs to review it. He needs to go ahead and have the chance to be able to do that.
I've done that now.
I asked them to do it when I sent out the agenda on Friday.
Okay.
There's certain things in here that by law we cannot agree to. We cannot identify anyone, and they've got that language in here. We need to take that out. They talked about the city manager. We don't have a city manager. I have, let's see, everybody just, I just pass them off to Sam, and the extra can just read them to us, and I'll pick them up. Another big thing that we need to make sure that we retain in here is our governmental immunity. There's a body of case law that's developing now where you waive your governmental immunity when you enter into certain contracts. We want to make sure that we won't do that, not just for ourselves, but for the county also. So I don't know if the district attorney do this contract up. I don't know.
This is, so for the council and for Tom to be aware, this is the one that they use with all the other cities. This is what they've gotten signed from the other
Who's
cities.
drew it up though? Is what I'd like to know.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Because you know, what I need to do is I need to go back to the department to do this up and talk to them. Because just looking at this, I don't think that whoever drew this up didn't have that much experience with interlocal agreements. So,
So you recommend to go ahead and, drop this item for tonight?
table this.
Yeah.
Then I'll make a motion that we do that.
Have a motion?
I'll second that.
Second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, tabling it? Yep. Got it. And Tom, what I'll do, I will go ahead and find out who the point of contact is, okay?
That'd be great.
So we can go ahead and take care
Yes, sir.
of that. It is an opportunity if we can get this taken care of, because one of the things, and Sam, especially for your district, you know, they're willing to help us out with those roads. And the cost would be the cost of just the materials, and they would do the rest of.
I need to contact the commissioner about the, we're going through the cemetery or something. We're gonna need to work on the lady that keeps putting a gate on there, and keeps locking the gate. Matter of fact,
Commissioner Lynch.
You know, Mayor, I'd just like to make a comment. You know, this contract's not really gonna help us out with them doing the pavement or doing the seal coat on the roads. On doing drainage work and construction work like that, that's not what this is designed for. You know, there are other contracts, interlocal agreements that the city of Line has entered into with Medina County. And that's Commissioner Beck has gone in and he's seal coated a bunch of roads in the line, but not through this agreement. It was a specific interlocal agreement for that.
Probably like what Ascos was done with us
Yes.
for
Yes. For
service.
specific projects. So that's what we need to talk to them about. And I've got, now that I know where we're going with this, I've got that at the office and we can use that as well.
We'll get to the point of contact, because, we need to make sure that we get an opportunity. Because if we can work out something with them with the roads, it definitely be a benefit for us.
Sure.
You know, just paying for the materials and they take care of the rest. Right. It would definitely help us out with that.
And at one time, Mayor, it was the county attorney's office that was drafting these agreements. We no longer have a county attorney's office. So that's probably going through the district attorney. And, you know, I know Mark Katie quite well, and we can work with them just as well as we worked with the county attorney in the past.
Just writing down some notes. Got it. Perfect. All right. Okay. G, discuss and consider adopting policy for rubber signature stamp.
You know, Mayor, this was, I know that Mr. Emery was involved in this a lot, so you know, I don't mind discussing it tonight, but I think that Mr. Emery should have the opportunity to have some input in this. So, you know, he had a long list of things that he wanted incorporated. I think I've tried to do that. Suggested items to include the rubber stamp policy. I think I've tried to do that, but I think that out of a courtesy, we need to give Mr. Emery the opportunity to do it.
So there's just no action taken tonight.
Do you want to make a motion for this to be tabled till the next meeting?
Right, no action taken tonight.
We'll table it.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. H, consider an act upon approving a broadband point of contact for the city. So we had that as an open item. We were gonna talk to a few folks. And
Mr. Stone was gonna have his son here, but I think his son had a little bit of an accident or something.
Well, yeah, right now, he wasn't sure, you know, his job was mainly troubleshoot computers, you know, keeping them running for the city. They got, not the city, the company he works for. And he travels a lot too. And, he said he didn't know, you're talking about the point of contact for the company, I mean, for the, providers.
There would be a point of contact that would kind of know what's going on in the city and what the requirements are.
Yeah. So he was, yeah, I don't think he's gonna,
He didn't want it.
I talked to him today.
he said the same thing to you.
Well, he told me that he felt as though he wasn't completely qualified, but he did tell me he was talking to his boss, his employer, about Hondo, because that's the way they are. And he told me that if I wanted to, he doesn't live in Lyle either, but he told me that if I wanted to tackle it, he'd be more than happy to advise me in that. But I would definitely maybe advise my kids. So I'm not against the idea. I mean, so we're wanting high-speed internet access throughout the city limits. Okay.
And the main thing is just understanding what is here, where we're at, where we need to go, and then just being able to be prepared when there's an opportunity, because there will be opportunities where they're gonna come down and say, hey, we want to take care of your area, there might be some funding that is available, and then trying to figure out how we might be able to assist ourselves with that.
So you're volunteering to lead the point?
To do my best, and yeah, I'm gonna talk to Matt a little bit.
One, move,
I was gonna say, have we talked to Frontera about this yet?
That's another thing Oliver asked, he said, what about your city's IT guys, what do they know about this, but. that's an option.
I didn't talk to him because it was kind of left up for Jerry talking to Oliver, but.
Well, isn't John coming out on the 23rd? Maybe we can just table this item for then, to give them the opportunity to address it as well.
That's a good idea.
The only thing is, in the sense of additional work, that's also gonna be part of the contract,
I think it'd be covered under a master agreement with them, I forget what it is, $125 an hour or something.
So,
So now I have to do anything.
well, an opportunity, the
I'll
thing
do
is.
some research, but I mean, yeah, I think we should talk to him before we do anything.
you make a motion?
I'll move the table this item until, next council meeting this month.
A motion for us to go ahead and table it to the second meeting in August?
I'll say.
Okay, a second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome. Okay, consider an act upon, consider an act upon, Unicode and website updates for our approved ordinance. This one in particular is just for us to make sure that we have a process in place for us to go ahead and get some ordinances, either on the update section of our website or actually getting them into Unicode.
Well, I've thought about that. Would you agree that when I get it signed by you and everything, that we just upload them on this until Unicode can do its thing, like we did before?
Yeah, well, we had talked about that back in March of 19,
Well, you had asked me to do those,
Yeah.
and
so.
would that be a practice that as soon as you sign them and before I file them, that just have them uploaded on the website? Is that okay?
That's what we need to do, but Josie, just since we got new council members, can you walk us through the process of Unicode? What does it require?
Well, we send them in, and then they have somebody review, and they make their adjustments, and they send them to Mr. Kate, and then Mr. Kate reviews them and sends them back with revisions. It's a long drawn out process. It takes a while.
So where are we at with, because I went back and looked at all the different ordinances, we got quite a, the last one that we had posted on there was in 2019, and we've had some others between then and now?
I can double check to see where we
Have
are.
we submitted any of those?
Well, most of the ones we've had over the last last year have been COVID related. And of
So-
course, the budget and the tax rate.
So some of them are smart meters, subdivision updates,
Okay,
which
the
we
smart
talked about.
meters, they haven't gotten to that. That hasn't been that long that that went off.
The new regular city council meeting times,
Okay,
the flood zone review by the city engineers, waste management ordinance on their board's adjustments, those are just a few.
okay,
So,
okay. I'll
So-
check with them to see where they are,
so
but,
So if we post them as updates on the website, how often do we normally send them into Municode?
I usually try to send them in every 6 months.
So every 6 months.
So, I can go in and have them uploaded, the ones that are missing, on your website. And then every time we pass an ordinance, just before I file it in the vault, I'll have it uploaded on the,
That would be good, that would be good, just so we can have, everybody has reference.
I can't see sending an ordinance to Unicode every time we adopt it, because they like to do it in packets.
And I remember you mentioning that back in 19, so I remember you saying that you like to do it in a group,
Yeah.
But
Um,
we need to
let
we need to
me
get
get
caught
with
up.
them to see what the whole is.
And Mayor, I'm gonna comment, because I use the Municode a lot. The purpose of having it in the Municode, what it is, in case we have a new councilman, but it's all our ordinances were put together, and we can go online and search. So if I need to know the noise ordinance, I can search the word noise, and it'll show me where all the noise ordinance, where I can find all that. So that's the advantage of having it in there, is it's searchable, it's all in one place. If it's something doing with, an ordinance like garbage, well, you can find it easier. So that's the advantage of it. If you haven't got on the website, and there's a link to Municode, which is a third party that provides that service to many municipalities. You go to Municode, and it's like Municode-Lidle, and it's our ordinances, and you can search the ordinances, and it's really neat, just in case you haven't, experimented with that.
I can do that, Mayor. I'll check with them to see what the latest is and get with them on that. In the meanwhile, I'll get them uploaded, the ones that are not on there yet, and then anything that we do from now on, before I even file it, I'll have it uploaded on the website.
Appreciate it. So we have. No, appreciate it, and that's the whole thing, is just trying to help each other out with that. So, is everybody okay? If we put it down in case we need to take some sort of action, I think what Josie's telling us, that every 6 months, she's gonna go ahead and submit it, so we can get things updated. But between those times of sending it to Municode, she's gonna go ahead and upload it into the website, so we can have it available, so anybody can actually see while we're waiting for it to be updated. So, I don't think do we need an action on that? Tom, I think we can just leave it alone as that, is that correct?
Just administrative issue.
Yep, so if everybody's okay with that, we'll just go ahead and press on with that. There's no action on that one, except for what we discussed, okay? Appreciate that. Okay, Jay, consider and act upon the extension of declaration of public health emergency. This one is reached out and talked to our emergency management folks and just asked based on where we're at and what's going on. Because the governor actually put out the proclamation based on issuing COVID-19 update. So I think pretty much everybody was in agreement, instead of doing it in pieces and where we're at and what's going on, then we might as well just go ahead and extend it for 6 months. So we're asking the council to take into consideration if we can just go ahead and extend it. Ours expires at the end of the month. So this is just so we can go ahead and get it to Tom, and then Tom can go ahead and make the adjustments on that. Okay. Okay, got a motion? Second. Okay, got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Tom. Take care of that. We'll get together before the end of the month. We got it planned. Kate, update on beautification committee.
Well, I did get around to talking to everybody and, on what days of the week they were free, and we will be having a beautification committee meeting next Tuesday, the 17th.
Okay. So we have all the members, everybody, we got everybody.
I talked to everybody and they agreed on what they were best for them. They were agreeable the next Tuesday.
Okay, that'll be good.
So we posted that.
That'll be good. So council, just so you know, with that one, is getting them together so they have an idea of what they're supposed to be doing and kind of give them a little bit of guidance. And the second one is we're looking for an opportunity for a project that maybe we can concentrate ourselves on. If you remember that Texas outreach project that we got from A&M, looking at for free doing architectural work for us, and being able to help us out if we actually select something that goes along. There's a lot of great ideas. And the other thing too is
I had one reach out to me before I talked to him. He's wanting to get something on wanting the committee to possibly assign him to overtake the deal of them working with the city on our cleanup day in October. And so,
that was the second part.
Yeah.
The second part, it's also tied into that too. So a few little things, but let's get the committee started. So basically being able to do that. So 17th August. They're gonna meet here, Josie? Okay. 6:30? Perfect. Awesome. Any questions on that? Okay. Update on coal mine emergency exit? Anything, Sam?
We went out in, I don't know, it's probably been a month now, James and Reese and Jeff and myself, we went out and took a look at where Water Street ends. And it was pretty much the consensus that that's gonna be expensive. There's, it's almost like a small stock tank on the other side of the fence. So Jeff was saying maybe we could look over at, I've got, is it Armandus Lane, Josie? That he's back there, or is it a continuation of the Baldwin Street?
well, it depends on what direction you're going. Are you going out towards the Carroll Farm, or are you going north to, Road 200?
North of Road 200.
Okay, Hernandez Lane.
But it ends, middle of, all the way to the.
Yeah, it might be shorter, what Jeff was looking at the satellite pictures, and he was looking at the end of Armandus Lane to First Street. And that's a whole lot shorter than you're going across.
Like up in the peak.
No, he said, we're gonna have to build a bridge
Yeah.
over the creek. You just put a big culvert in there, is what he was saying. But we really haven't looked at it. So that would be the next step, to go down there and look at that.
That part of the C Street and everything.
I don't know.
What, Hernandez Lane?
Yeah.
No, it's not a city street, it's a private drive.
Did they get permission to?
As a matter of fact, when the people down that street back in 1982, 83, they were wanting water meters out in front of their property, because up until then, they had them all there on Hidalgo Street, were running the water lines from there. And they wanted them out in front of their property, and because of family disagreements, you know how things can go sometimes. Their own family members that were right there at the beginning, there on Hidalgo Street, refused to give the city an easement to where we could take the line down there. So it ended up, we got the neighbor that lived across their way there, Mr. Mounts, to grant an easement to where the city could put the water line in over there. And then they connected from there. But it is a private drive.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I haven't done any research on that. I don't know how that was created. If it was, allowing access to the public, I'd have to go look at it again. I probably looked at it at the time that Jessica was talking about.
We may have an authorization from them for garbage service, but that's, that we wouldn't be held accountable for fixing the street because the garbage truck is going down there to pick up their garbage.
So you're talking
That's
about
probably the best we got.
connecting to First Street? Is that what you're looking at?
That's what Jeff was saying.
So what about if there's an old trailer park?
Yeah.
Across the baseball lane.
You know how many properties we have in the sense in between there that we have to deal with?
No.
We have to get with the CAD, get a map from the CAD to see what we got in there.
Whose property is that up there? You know, is that like wooded area? Is that wooded area?
Yeah, it's, you can see where, that's problem, Sam, where you got, you've got, what actually turns into the, West Palm of the Atascosa Creek comes down here.
Because like, I remember we used to go back there, hunting, when we were young, it was all wooded area.
Yeah. That
Put it all
would,
down there.
yeah, that would be, that's, but Jeff's thinking that it's gonna be cheaper from here to there than from,
Just remember that the one at the very end over here, Tom, the one off of, Vada Street, I know you have the edge of that pond, but technically, correct, Sam, we were gonna take the tree out, so it was gonna be at an angle. Remember that conversation?
Right.
So it was gonna go through the tree and connect to that other area, so it wasn't gonna go through that portion of the lake.
yeah, I think that this is where Richie and, the other first responders come in. They need to tell us what they.
Yeah, well, I think all of us were in the vehicle together, we all went.
Yeah, you'd have to-
Sharon, Eric?
The plan is now, of course, when we went out there, that stock tank was dry, okay? But that makes a little difference. But I've been out there, you would have to cut through, we have to take property or get an easement and clear it off from Sam's relative, whoever that
Yeah,
is.
you already signed it.
Yeah. So we'd have to be able to get through there. And then we'd have to figure out where we go from there, because again, it's,
You have to go to the right.
yeah, we drove out there some and, they irrigate and everything. So, it's, I don't really know. We were just looking for something to get us out and that was an option. I can't tell you it's the best option because I haven't looked at, any of
Did
the
y'all look
other.
at Hidalgo Street,
We did.
and was that any better?
We drove down there. Well, the problem is that it stops. Somebody has, put up a barricade right over there by Doris Swan's house.
That's,
Okay, is that eating cheddar?
No, it's
No.
cariño.
Who?
Es cariño.
Oh,
Cariño, Juan's Cariño. His,
This is
stepdaughter,
daughter.
stepdaughter owns
Laura,
Laura.
we could probably talk with the
Isn't
neighbors.
that a street that goes?
But doesn't it extend further? I don't think it's platted all the way. Don't the Edie Chetas have property on the other side?
Yeah, there's a property.
That's what I thought.
If you look at Hidalgo Street to the south, there's about 2 or 3 different parcels we'd have to deal with. Whereas if we went back towards First Street, 7 to 10.
Well, we could.
I don't know if they're all the same. I
We
didn't
could
go search.
definitely
But
get CAD maps and see who all are involved and
Yeah.
decide where to go, the distances, and measure all that.
But, if we tell people on this lane that we're going to make some improvements, that might change their opinion about.
You mean to the street?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that they would love that.
Only concern is that, you have to clear all that land. So.
Right down there at the confluence of the two, the two creeks. So, yeah.
I don't know, the one that-
where we talk where the creeks come together,
Yes, sir.
it shows Robert Ortega maybe. Or then
That's
Evelyn.
outside the city, right? Robert
Evelyn.
Ortega. He's
Villarreal on the
right
other side.
past the creek, just out of the city.
Yeah, that's right at the creek that shows it runs through there.
Whatever we do, we need to really, I mean, from years of watching this, we need to really take our time and make sure we're, you know,
People
looking
would
at.
say we already have taken
Well,
our time.
we need to look at our options, and if we need to get somebody in that's got more professional experience, like an engineer, or somebody,
Engineer,
an engineer, or, because the train tracks are right there, so having an engineer would be handy. Because I was here and involved when we put that road through to 681 from the cemetery, I was involved in all that,
Yes.
and it actually wasn't a bad deal. I mean, we we dropped the ball and didn't maintain it, but theoretically it would work. That would work at the time. Now we got that lady puts a fence up there and everything. So, gate, so,
It would
but,
have worked back then if that guy would have allowed us to keep going through there, but when he took back his easement and blocked all that area off, that kind of put us in a bind.
whatever it is, we need to make sure it's, somebody's not gonna build a house in them, because that's what happened there. All of a sudden, one day, in the middle of our road was a house and a kid's playground, it was just,
he started giving parts of the property to his kids.
His kids, yeah. Well,
And this week,
so what do y'all recommend?
What do you think, Sam?
Go back?
this past week, we had the eminence coming in, someone was. I'm afraid the train stopped or something.
we just, by the grace of God, is the only reason we haven't had any major problems out there.
So Tom, what? Y'all,
I just, I think, you go down, speed, we have to clear all that land.
Yeah.
Build a bridge over, over there.
That's off that
well,
nine,
could we go,
or Hidalgo you're talking about?
I think they're talking about Hernandez, Hidalgo to Hernandez. If it goes down to First Street, I don't know that there's that much of that creek that it would be an issue. Do you? I mean, where, yeah.
It kind of looks bad right there. Unless
Well,
you-
maybe we can
unless
get
you
you
took
the
a-
maps and
you took
measurements.
a Jag to the east and then went to First Street. And then you just have to cross one creek.
Y'all want to do some more review on it or what? Study it some more?
Oh, we were gonna have to.
I mean, you want me to get some CAD maps?
I'm looking at one of the ones, LZ and Lillian Wyland.
Yeah, they've got that,
They got a big track, and then the one next to that is Juan and Maribel Ramon. They got 11 acres, and then it's, Evelyn Salinas.
right, everyone's the one that owns that trailer park and First Street and all that in there.
So it's really only 3 property owners possibly.
I think we have to talk to them, see what gives a easement to us.
Yeah, Mr. Wiley still owns that one track.
Yeah, that's that first track right before the church where they've got that roping arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back in the back, though, they don't have anything. in the back of that property. It's like a race. It's like cattle.
Yeah.
They were better road, but
The mentor tonight, he's like the parker on.
they're parking the trailer on the.
Oh.
Instead of going through Hernandez, like go through the Wiley properties with it.
7 or 8 people. It's not gonna be easy. Yeah. It's the easiest, but
So where are you trying to connect?
knowing the other people run.
We have to, Pat, can you bring this up on the screen, or you?
I can plug it all back in.
Where's the one that, Lisa? What's that?
Where?
Lisa Bustamante, or that's ready to report to the. Around, and if they wanted the water, we were talking to somebody,
Who was blocking it, who was that?
the block here, part of the property.
Oh, you mean the Hernandez?
Yeah.
It was Maria and Efrain, the brother. But I,
They're not-
yeah, they don't live there anymore.
Well,
In fact, I think Efrain died. I don't know where Maria is now.
No.
But that house of theirs is all dilapidated and everything.
Yeah, on Mar Martinez part of the property.
Who did?
On Mar Martinez.
Kip Robin on
At one point in time, Mayor Fincher, we discussed, and, you know, it never did go anywhere, but coming down and actually coming out on Bloom Drive between Betty and that other house there. I don't know what it looks like. I just remember them talking about it, you know, and I don't know if you could, you know, shoot through there or not. I don't know. It may be worse than the other.
That's a pretty good distance.
Yeah. I don't know. I just remember, and that was before, you know, you could look it up on the, to be honest with you, this was before you could look it up on the computer
Yeah.
and the CAD and everything. So a lot of it was just, you know, something in your mind, you know.
That's much further though, cutting across the Bloom Drive. We're looking at from First Street, that might be 1,000 feet, if even that.
See, I was told years ago by Doris Swan, there is an easement that goes all along the railroad tracks from that entrance to coal mine, all along the track on that side. It goes all the way over to Bloom Drive,
Yeah, that's Guzman and then.
right, runs in front of the Guzman property, the old
And
Guzman
then,
property.
and then somebody bought the other property.
Yeah.
Supposedly, she told me that there was an easement put there years and years
Yeah, the
ago.
other road going that way.
The problem is,
Yeah,
depending on what the problem is, that area would probably be blocked off because of the train. I mean, if it derails or something, God forbid,
I think the roads along the.
that easement wouldn't be used to anybody.
That's the reason why,
Probably
if you
the
remember
owner.
saying when we were looking at that other property, they said to stay away from it.
Yeah,
They told to go about 100.
it's
But
too
it's
close to the track.
railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Alright, hotspot, not my phone. There. So this is, you got our look over San Fernando Lane, right?
Uh-huh.
And then come over to First Street up here and make it next up.
Not very.
That was good.
Can you measure the distance between those?
I'd have to get into,
Really is all wooded, so
the full out Google Maps.
not complete down.
Oh, you can't right click on that and measure,
Nah, no, it's Google Earth.
measure distance that bottom one,
Oh.
and then just click at the end to right
I
there.
wonder you're a city council. I know you could do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just drop the
I've never done
measure
that.
distance from
Yeah.
there and then click on the other.
on the other
Did
point,
not
it'll
use
take
Google
you.
Earth.
Yeah, just drag it. Now click,
Like right there.
left click. Not, you can't click the mark.
work it out.
There you go. 500,
1,000.
feet.
Did you all say 1,000 feet earlier? Did you guess that?
I look at a bunch of maps all day.
My God, that's amazing.
Okay, you cheated.
You guessed a 1,043. Thanks. I'm
So
thinking
you would have to get permission from all these people, right? On that road to enhance their road so we can use it. And then permission from the 3 or 4 people here to go across their road or across their property, right?
Yeah,
So you're 7 or 8 different people would have to deal with.
I don't
These
even
people
know.
would probably be easier, right? Because we're gonna,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
would
benefit.
imagine
We're
if
gonna
they're gonna,
enhance your road.
they're gonna enhance the road, they would love that.
But the issue, we're gonna have to make sure that we don't have things like travel trailers parked at the end of it and tell these people you can't park stuff here anymore on your property. And then figure out how we jog across this with an all-weather road. And again, tell this property, you can't ever put anything at the end to block us here. And get everything.
Bailey, that's a gate to access.
Yeah, she's got a gate somewhere in here already.
Yeah, they mow it.
But we'd have to do some kind of all-weather road, to fit ambulances and fire trucks and all that on there that we maintain on a regular basis, because it won't take much to deteriorate.
That's a city street.
What is?
What, this one
First
right here?
Street?
It's not.
I don't think that was, they just said it's not.
First Street is a private,
Yeah, this is a private street
it's
too.
part of her trailer
I'm
park.
not even sure it qualifies as a street.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah, no,
But we could work out a deal with her to
Yeah,
enter that road
it's,
too.
it's a private deal, just like George Harris
You said
Streets are.
There's some, I talked to her son, because I know, he wants to put more trades on the other side now.
Yeah, so we're talking private from point A all the way down to that point B down
I
here,
don't know what else campaign.
into here.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we talk with all those people along the way to get that access.
I don't think we'd have any problem with Eagle and Hernandez Lane.
I wouldn't think you'd have any issues here, to that road that's there, or First Street, really, if we say, hey, we're gonna come in and, go to a better all-weather road.
Well, here's the issue. My deal is this property there, it's probably in the floodplain, most of that, right? Or it's rough area. It's probably not gonna be developed into a subdivision, I wouldn't think, if that creek runs through there.
It's all on the floodplain.
Yeah, well, so if it's all in the floodplain, you've got limited, it's not like you're taking somebody's money producing property and taking, here, it really is just, it's not gonna really, have a lot of negative impact. It'd probably be more positive impact. I don't know anything about it, other than just what I'm looking at.
Yeah, the one place I'll probably end up doing some work, probably gonna be somewhere in here, right in this area. Depending on where the road goes, because this is where you get all the water.
Yeah.
There's a lot of water, that's a washout with 681 over there, and you know how much water we
A
get
lot.
from that area.
A whole lot.
If you bring it down, man, yeah, so right here, all this area right here, we get a lot of water go through there.
You definitely have to have a good engineer look at that area there.
So that's
We'd have to
where,
fit concrete culverts and everything.
Yeah.
Keep it from
so
deteriorating.
you're gonna have, in that area, because we looked at that in the beginning, when we were talking about it, but looking at what you need to put to be able to have something based on the water in the floodplain, it's a lot less than what you get over in the other side, on Juarez, because from here,
Yeah, I think you have to go that way.
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
talked
take the
about,
tree, we're gonna go this way, he showed us,
That's a
Yeah.
dog.
it was this way, and then we were gonna connect down this road right in there.
I'm like, what's that distance, man? From,
well, let me get my handy dandy measurement
The
tool
street
back
we
out.
were looking at was Hidalgo, wasn't Juarez.
Yeah, that was a dog.
Luke
That
probably
was,
knew that.
that was Hidalgo Street
That's
there.
1,200 feet.
So is that street Hidalgo or Hernandez?
No, the one you're looking at right there,
That's Juarez.
that's Hidalgo.
Oh, which one?
No, the one that went
The
up,
street, okay, right there, that's Hidalgo.
That's
No, that's
water.
one.
that's Juarez.
Talking about
Juarez?
1,600 feet.
It's
Go up a little bit.
Hidalgo's up.
Where's Hidalgo? Okay, there's Hidalgo, okay,
Oh, you're right, yeah.
yeah,
My cousin owns that house, he already gave us a.
yeah, I remember that.
But
I remember that.
Hidalgo, it turns and goes up, right?
A doggo stops.
No, it just comes to a dead
They got it
end.
blocked off.
Yeah, but on the other end,
That's where Hernandez goes.
It's really Hernandez, they
It's
say it
just
all, but it's
labeled
not.
on there, Google has it as El Doggo, but that's,
It's
so is that,
Hernandez.
is that Hernandez?
on the turn, it turns into Hernandez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hernandez
right there where the
Lane
street
is a
stops.
private drive.
So, that's where the confusion was. So Hernandez, we did take a look at that before, but that's just because of that area with the water. But it's worth taking a look. I mean, honestly, we need to figure this out. But that section in there, that's what you're gonna run into. We're over on the sod farm, you actually have, it's just basically going and connecting. How much feet was that? That over in the
It was
sod?
like 1,600 feet the other way, but, I mean,
Yeah,
this
that's
guy
the
already said
road
he's
now.
cool with us coming, or?
That's the road.
That's not the road, that's like.
That's still.
No, we came out right here and he's got something that
Go
leads
go
up.
further out, man, we're trying to find 681.
Yeah, that's not.
That's his road, 680, 683 is right here.
So that's where you'd actually be trying to catch her somewhere.
So what we did is when we rode, because we did get together with him.
Yeah.
We all rode together. If you remember, we came down right through there, right through here, that way, and then we got on the road. And then he took us down this way too, remember? We went down this way too.
Well, we don't want to get.
The only issue, we didn't want to come this way because the water that's
That's
coming.
correct.
We tried to stay up on this higher ground over
Yeah, and
here.
that's the reason why we said we would take that tree out
Yeah.
and go that way.
And we don't want to get by the trash, because that may put us right back in our hazard.
Yeah,
And his roads that he's got here, they're, I wouldn't say the greatest all-weather road, but they're fairly decent, these internal roads he has.
They have those, 18 wheelers.
Yeah, I mean, they're driving
Oh,
on
they're
them. so.
pretty down.
So Sammy, you wanna talk to Jeff?
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's familiar with Sam, so
Okay.
you're familiar with the area.
Maybe he didn't know about the easement.
Oh, he knew about the easement, but still, that's pretty deep, it's pretty deep right there. I mean, cutting back, we just have to take a look at it.
You have to put gravel or something on it.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, we discussed about putting something on there, but if you go to the right, it's a lot less than if you go straight,
And it's,
because you end up hitting that area.
yeah, I mean, we talked about how low it was. It would require some work in this area to keep us on secure ground
Yeah.
with fire trucks and stuff.
It is-
Really, that's the biggest concern, right, the fire truck, biggest, heaviest thing we got.
Probably-
And you're gonna have to do an all-weather road, it's not gonna be just, some caliche.
Reese said if he was a younger man, he would tackle that job.
Yeah,
It's gonna be some work.
no matter which way we go, it's work.
Yeah.
And money.
And then the other, of course, if you extend, the lago,
right.
if you extend it on across,
We just come straight across and catch right there.
We'd have to, go through the property.
Yeah.
or to keep you out of, of course.
My cousin owns top of the property, but I'm sure he, okay, yeah, was, Elaine. I don't know about her.
Oh.
She's my cousin, but,
Oh,
She like,
Laney.
what's her last name?
I don't even know what her last name is now.
What?
It was
Oh, yeah, I went
Pedalis.
to school with her.
I think the reason this was chosen is it was the easiest. This gentleman over here said, look, I mean, if you need to use my property to get around, let's just do it, And then Sam knew the cousin here. So it was two people and everybody was on board.
Well, that would be.
Things may have
that
changed
looks like
since then,
it would
I'm
be
not
the
sure.
best.
yeah, Elaine owns this house here, so you have to go.
Yeah.
But-
And then there's another lady, that man who lives here, you have to go through their property too. And then, here's just us.
Sam, you wanna come back to us in the first meeting in September in 30 days?
Yeah, we get the,
Yeah, I'll get you,
Is Elaine, Lisa's daughter?
yeah, but she's,
Lisa passed away, didn't she?
Yes,
my cousin,
She's a nice lady.
yeah, she was.
All right, when we do that, if everybody's okay, this was just an update, but let's just go ahead and shoot, the first meeting in September. Do that. see Sam do a carne asada over there, invite a few people, and maybe he'll work his magic. Try to figure out something that goes along with that. Okay, any other questions or concerns on that one? Nope. Okay, doing really good on time, actually, we would be taking a break. Informational items, anything somebody wants to pass along, I do have some info I wanna. Anybody, last minute?
There was something that we talked to the department head meeting about, a couple months ago, and you had told us to kind of put it on the QP. Well, when I was in Pleasanton last week, those people at that store told us we're getting it in Lila in October.
Okay.
You wanna,
I will tell you that last week, I checked with HB Real Estate folks, and they told me that they're still in negotiations. So, it looks favorable that we'll get a department store in there, but I don't wanna, because they're still in the negotiations. But,
that lady at the checkout, when she saw that we were from Miles, she said, oh, you're getting one in October.
hey, that'd be great. I'm talking to the real estate people and the HB, they're the ones, so I'll wait on them. I check with them every so often just to see where we're at, but it was just last week that she answered back and said that they're still in negotiations. She said it's good because they're still in negotiations. That's good. So,
By the way, I did like their store.
it is. They did a good job.
You know, Mary, you mentioned the easement on the Farrell property. I talked to Ms. Farrell this afternoon, and she wants to check with DMA. She wants to be compensated in some manner for that easement being on her property. And if she can get it on BMA, that would be a step in the right direction as far as she's concerned. But I did tell her, we've got to stop at some point. And if we can't come to some type of agreement, then we just ask for a waiver from TCEQ. And she said, that's fine. I said, maybe you should ask for a waiver first. She was here last meeting on the sanitary easement for the well. She tells me that they've got plans, just like she told the council last time. They've got plans for that property, and having an easement on that property is not part of the plan. So,
The first thing for sure, and once we get the team together, is we need to take care of our portion of what was left out there.
absolutely, we have to do that anyway.
We need to take care of that. I mean,
We have to do that anyway.
And as soon as it dries up a little bit, we definitely need to get it shredded again. It was awful.
we need to be able to take care of that.
We went out there to market that portion, we get it off, and I told council that we would, told Mr. and Ms. Alfaro that we would. Those sunflowers, they don't look like they're very tall, but they're about 3 foot over my head. That's how tall they are. And they're just rough as a cob, man. They'll chew you up, Jared.
No, but it's good in the sense of being able to, that we need to take care of that once you get the team. And that's one of the things I wanted to, let you guys know, one of the comments, if you have a chance, please thank, Robbie, Pete, all the guys over there that pretty much took care of our city, kept things going, when they were missing one of their teammates. We hope that it'll be ready to go by Wednesday. Hopefully everything lines up correctly, but, if you see them on the road or, stop by and say hi, it'd probably be good to give them a good pat on the back because they've been doing a great job just being able to take care, keeping things moving for the last few weeks. So it's been good to be able to do that. Special thanks to Josie too, with Mayor Bowen's, dad, taking care of the arrangements and stuff, and also with Fredo's too, and putting a little extra personal touch on behalf of all of us, making sure that we didn't miss out.
Also did it for, former Alderman Mummy as well.
And money too, that's true, that is true too.
That was,
So,
Alfredo's wife.
She's out of the hospital and
She was there.
She's doing good.
Yeah, she was at the, I talked to Conrad, and his brother, I guess, Roddy, and he said they were doing okay.
Yep, she was there. And PD, thank you for taking, I know you guys have had a few escorts, here recently,
Comes in threes,
so
that's what they all say.
I appreciate you guys taking care of all that. So, it's been interesting.
Mommy, Alfredo. And then Mayor, I don't know if you were, but, I should be picking up the city council shirts tomorrow afternoon. I got some doctor's appointments in San Antonio, and I'm gonna swing back by and get them on the way back.
Appreciate that. Hope we get some new shirts. We'll get everybody have those. Talk to Dr. Neal, just like it was mentioned, a few, just with the numbers and stuff like that. It's still, the numbers continue to increase on here, continue to exercise good practices and remain as healthy as possible to be able to help out. He didn't mind me sharing this with you, but after a year and a half of battling it, in Spain, he actually did catch. And he self-treated himself, and because of his healthy lifestyle, along with doing what he's been taking care of patients, he's in full recovery. It didn't affect him. It affected him, but it didn't affect him that bad. So he's hoping to get back into normal here in the next week.
Was he vaccinated?
I don't know. But he's doing good, and I asked him if he wanted to share that, and he said yes. But he's just, the approach of staying healthy and doing what you're supposed to be doing and taking care of stuff and just using the precautions. Last week when Josie and I talked about the meeting and stuff, that was one of the things, is just checking, hey, should we limit ourselves? And he said, no. He said, just encourage masks, continue to do that. But he said, for large groups getting together, in a sense of consideration, we can't limit them, but at the same time, the encouragement of masks is probably one of the best things we can do. So I did ask him also, just so you know, for outdoor events, since we have the 9/11 event coming up, he said at this moment, don't worry about it. But he said he's going to be monitoring, so that would be something that we might have to have a discussion about that in the future. I just want to let you know. And the last thing is, Richie, for Casey and you, best of luck. In the next few days, we're gonna look at Luke. I just come back. I wish the camera was the other way so you could actually go. Yeah, I know, new brother, but all the best to you and the family and stuff.
You're not gonna be the baby boy
Also,
anymore.
the Catholic Church is, St. Andrews got a festival planned. Matt, I think, reached out, we need to get them in here to get a noise, a variance and talk about a few things, but that is October the 10th.
Yeah, I just happened to see it because it was passed on to me from somebody else, and
I know,
I don't know any details other than that.
we went to the Church of Divine, and they're having theirs the same, October, they're not gonna have a music, they're just gonna have a drive-by, plates, they're drawing, that's it,
Really?
yeah, so the whole.
So we're, it's kind of, I don't know, I'm just gonna say, it's something we need to monitor with these events. Not that much we can do a lot about any of them. I think a lot of people, personally, I've been in San Antonio a lot with doctor's appointments and Sam's and Costco and all over, and I'm seeing heavier mask usage now than even when it was almost, you had to, it's just a lot of people with masks on. Which is what people, it's what they want to do, that's something you can do,
I intend to wear a mask in the fall and the winter,
Well,
so I don't get a cold or the flu again.
You look better with one.
Ah.
I'm at that color.
You do too.
I'm at that color matches.
No, I didn't even get a cold this
Feeling the
winter.
love. I'm just feeling the love. I'm telling you. Okay. Anything else you want to share? Can I go ahead and get a motion? It's 8:10 right now. For us to adjourn? Okay, got a motion for us to adjourn. Second for Joseph. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. 8:10, Josie.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Kind of scary.
On the cheese. Sorry, I meant to push that.